You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
July the 4th, 2015. Happy Independence Day, everybody. It's another episode of the Impact Implosion. As always, my name is Seth Draken, and on the other end is Mike Poland.
Hello.
Happy Independence Day, Mike.
Yes, happy Independence Day to you, too.
And we get to do this show before there better not be any fireworks outside.
Nope, just an air conditioner.
Actually, there's some fireworks outside my house, although thankfully I'm inside.
I'm sure I'll hear some later tonight.
Oh, God, yeah. So, let's get to the news, because we have more people gone.
Poor TNA.
After we called this show off last week, both Taryn Terrell and Awesome Kong were announced as leaving, although Kong disputes it.
And so does Taryn.
Oh, she does too? Okay.
Yep.
A top executive left for TNA. One Andy
Even
Barton.
the executives are jumping off the ship.
Yep, Andy Barton, who has worked with Dixie since 1996.
That
even
poor
before
man.
she ran TNA.
That poor man.
I know.
Speaking of Dixie, we'll be seeing her on TV in a couple weeks.
Of course we will. And Kurt Angle is going to be off TV for a while.
Yep.
Because apparently for this entire year and most of last year, he's known that he
was wrestling with a neck injury.
Not just a neck injury, a neck tumor.
It's a tumor.
Yes, that bump on his neck is a tumor.
And yet it goes unnoticed by TNA staff and medical people.
I know.
For all the shit that people want to talk about WWE and how they don't care about their talent, at least if those guys are hurt, they get the time off.
Yeah, if there's a tumor there, they will tell you, go home.
Yes. Don't stay. Go home and try to get it healed.
Yeah, so now Kurt Angle cannot, because he's got to leave. He's got to go home because now the tumor's causing neck atrophy. Oh, muscular atrophy. So, yeah. Damn it, Kurt.
Damn it, Kurt.
This is why. Let me say this, Kurt Angle. You have kids with two families. You have a wife. You have an ex-wife. You have a legacy. Retire, please.
You have a Rocket Common stock. Oh wait, that happened before.
I know. You got just retire, Kurt. God, take the.
Maybe you can go back to WWE and they'll put you in a legitimate, in a pseudo-legitimate Hall of Fame.
Take the Legends deal, which will probably be pretty expensive. You'll be paid very well by Pittsburgh people. You'll do fine. Just get out. We don't
Magnus
want to
and Bobby Roode are going to be competing in the Global Force Wrestling title tournament.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
Yes. Magnus will also be appearing for Northeast Wrestling in Ohio against ROH guy Dijak. They're wrestling under the Stars tour later this month, in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. And PWI is no longer recognizing TNA title as a world title.
And ironically, I no longer recognize PWI because I can't remember the last time I actually saw that magazine on the newsstand anywhere.
I know. I'm like, what? The biggest shocker is PWI is still a thing, apparently.
That's the comment I left on the headline when I saw it. I'm like, wait a minute. PWI still around. I haven't seen their magazine around in like probably 5 to 7 years.
And another thing, TNA's been going after people that are like, because one person said TNA, no matter if I love TNA or if I want TNA to go out of business or not, they do kind of deserve to go out of business. And everyone in TNA went after this guy.
Well, at this point.
He is right. After everything TNA's done, they do
they're not exactly going to die with dignity.
No, it's like you treat yourself as a top company, yet all problems inner shows that you're not a top company and you don't make top quality product. So no, yeah, you do deserve to die.
They haven't.
You do kind of deserve to die if that's the truth. Deserve to go out of business. That's just the way business has always been.
Yep.
That's why companies have gone out of business always. They demanded more than they were worth.
Yep. And we have a pay-per-view that both of us at least saw some of.
I saw all of it 2 days later.
I saw up until the tag match before the main because my YouTube video for some reason cut off.
Okay.
No, instead it turned into a private video like 6 matches in. I'm like, what?
X Division title 3-way. Considering the spoilers, we all know who wins this.
Tigre Uno versus Manic versus...
By the way, nice tights, Manic, and nice bug-looking mask with the bug eyes.
Yep.
And Tigre Uno comes out looking like Battle Cat.
This is a good match, although I only saw the last 5 minutes of it.
I just got to say, DJZ looks like he put his hair in a cotton candy machine.
Yeah.
Pope's like, this is the greatest thing since up, up, down, down, left, right, BA.
Pope is not a bad commentator, actually.
He is kind of a Booker T commentator.
Except not as grating as Booker.
I know.
But again, Booker also has JBL and Cole to work with.
But then Tigre Uno has this, tried to do this move like a flapjack or whatever it was, and it looks terrible.
Probably because he's not big enough to be doing that kind of a move.
I know.
But a one-man flapjack always looks terrible, to be honest with you.
Well, it's not really a flapjack. It's like he puts the guy on his back sideways.
Okay.
And he can't pick him up.
Anyway, Tigre wins by eliminating both guys, actually.
DJZ gets eliminated first, and then Manic gets eliminated a minute later.
Yep, and then we have a backstage promo with Robbie E.
And Jeremy Borash, with Borash seeming what sounded like a eulogy for TNA. It really did.
Jeremy.
It really did sound like he was saying goodbye.
If they're going to have a funeral segment for TNA, they need Abyss and James Mitchell there. So Abyss can just tear up a box of tissues.
I know. And then Robbie E comes out clucking like a chicken before getting serious. And then we get the Bromance Explode match, which was garbage.
At least it's in the right spot on the card, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Put it after a good opener. That way people can take a piss break.
Yeah, this was just... This was sloppy.
If we never see these two again, it'll probably be an improvement. So.
Yeah, it'll probably be too soon. So Jesse Goddard calls himself now the Man.
He's the Man.
And Jesse keeps telling the fans, I was the one who made the Bromance pin. I was the one who got the pin. I was the one who made the Bromance important, and the fans don't. We don't care. We don't care.
No, DJZ was the one who made them important.
By the way, Jesse, that pin reference, you said that you got the pin that make them tag champs. The first time it was Robbie E that got the pin.
No, the
Matthew at Botchamania showed that Jesse was Robbie who got the pin over Gunner and James Storm.
You mean, was it Mr. Olympia?
Yeah. And by the way, Pope compared the Bromance to the Hart Foundation and Beer Money for some reason.
Oh, God.
Except
don't compare them to a good team.
One of them's got to be the Bret Hart, or one of them's got to be the Jim Neidhart. And he's like, So Robbie E's like Bret
One
Hart.
of them be the Tracy Smothers and the other be the Steve Armstrong.
And I do love he's like, you do know James Storm better not hear you say that Bobby Roode was the Bret Hart of the team.
Yep.
Because he's still here.
And so was Storm.
And Robbie E wins with a Scorpion Death Drop.
Yeah. Moving on. And luckily, neither of these two guys, I don't think, show up in any of the upcoming TV. So.
Yeah, and
hopefully
here comes
the last time we see them.
The worst match is this match, the coming next match.
Yeah.
The multi-year contract signing every month Bram versus the man who is a can't-miss prospect, but always misses, Matt Morgan.
In a street fight, that was probably the worst street fight ever because they already had a big gimmick match later on in the show.
By the way, Matt Morgan's the one who wanted the street fight. And the commentators are like, that's...
You do know this is Bram's gimmick, right?
That's more Bram's,
the commentators had to point out the stupidity of the face. That's not good.
Yes. And there is a moment where Morgan is down, and Bram goes to the outside and goes through all 6 corners. He cannot find the weapon he is looking for. So he has to settle for a steel chair that is in the ring.
The big question is, what was he looking for?
I know. It was just funny to see.
He's just wandering around the ringside area looking for something.
God damn it, where is it? Where is that damn thing? Oh, gotta take care of it. Just
son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's one in the ring. Oh, well, I gotta use this. So, Bram wins in a match made by Morgan that favored Bram. Morgan is an idiot. Don't quit your day job, Matt.
Fail.
By the way, Matt, you're the one who's going to be wanting the street fight. You kind of might want to use weapons and not try to wrestle.
You also probably might want to study up on your opponent and make sure that that's not his freaking gimmick.
That too.
Do research. Watch Bram's matches with Abyss. As horrible as they were.
Yeah, he knows how. So, by the way, Tyrus and EC3 backstage, and we had a moment of Tyrus being a complete goof. I forget what he said.
He said, "Boss, you've got the security." Yeah, he's got the worst security ever.
But and no, JB tries to remind him of stuff, and Tyrus is like, "Are you correcting me?"
Trying to be threatening.
Oh no, I remember what it is. Bobby
Anderson. He was place for 2 years.
Oh, Mr. Lashley or whatever, like Ken Lashley or whatever he said. He's like, you mean Ken Anderson, right? And he's like, did you just correct me? Yes, he did.
Guys, running wrong. You do.
Yes, he did. He had every right to correct you. Bobby Anderson, Ken Lashley.
Bobby Anderson sounds like a jobber name.
I know. So, time for Austin Aries' last wrestled match in TNA versus Davey Richards. Great match. I just got one thing to say.
Why wasn't this the tag match? Why was Rude in the frickin' ladder match when both he and Eddie were in the building?
By the way, Aries, he's wrestling good, but he doesn't give a shit.
Because he knows he's leaving.
I know. He is like going on the outside, just half-assing.
The thing is, when you know you're leaving a company, you're just phoning in, kind of like, RVD or someone like that.
And yet he can still wrestle circles over the other guys.
Like, you could have cut off these last 2 matches that we talked about and had the 30-minute Iron match on this show.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted to.
And Aries is half-assing it in the ring and can still wrestle circles over the other guys. But he wins with the devastating roll-up.
Using his height, it looked like.
Thanks to Richards being distracted by
Bobby Roode and Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, fighting, and someone was like...
Well, both in the building, so yeah, this is not the tag title match.
I know. People were upset that... People were upset about Davey Richards losing to a guy that was out the door. You might want to remember that they have taped stuff, so this isn't his last match, technically. This is technically his last match.
We'll see them again in the next few weeks.
Yeah, they're still televised stuff. So, Aries is like, I get to pick the match, and I got to match you. All want to see
a bra and panties match.
And the crowd's like, what? And he's like, just kidding.
Oh, no.
Just kidding.
Gotcha.
It's going to be a 30-minute Iron Man match. I did love that where he said, bra and panties match. And everyone's like, what?
We don't want to see that.
No, we don't. That was the joke. He's gone his way out, so he's like, I got to make this work.
And do we have another backstage thing, or what's next here on the card?
We have today saying it's been 5 years since the last King of the Mountain match, and I was like, Hogan killed that thing because it was stupid.
That's the one good thing Hogan did during that run in the company.
Yeah, he killed it.
When your gimmick is too convoluted to explain, you've got a bad gimmick.
Yep, so time for the Knockouts Handicap Tag Match. 3 on 2.
Handicap matches suck.
Yeah, they do. So, basically...
When the only person who's a good work, well, Karen's okay.
You notice in the song, the doll song they're singing, that it's against pretty people, which...
but Karen's pretty, sort of.
Yeah, so...
Makes
Brooke
sense.
doesn't have on her rainbow
and
gear.
Why are they feuding with Kong, who's not exactly pushed as a pretty person?
I know. So, Brooke doesn't have that terrible rainbow gear on, and...
But she has a terrible theme song.
Yes. There is a spot here where Kong goes for a splash, and it takes so long that the dollhouse are all group hugging each other in the corner.
We're about to die.
Yes, they're just waiting for her
to say their prayers.
Yes.
Like they stop in San Andreas where the big earthquake is happening and the two old people just hug each other. We're gonna die! Oh no!
Hold me! So, Brooke hits it's an X Factor that they called the Butterface Maker.
The top rope X Factor. I guess the implication is that it will make the person ugly. Which I believe she hit it on Marty Bell, which you're not actually going to make her any prettier by hitting her with that.
I know, that's a stupid name.
Terrible match.
It wasn't
and we move on to probably the other good match in the card.
Well, we had backstage, we had Magnus which basically a goodbye speech to TNA. Basically saying, I've been here for a while. I've been here, done that. So then we have an unsanctioned match, or as Brian Alvarez called it, a everyone leaves town match.
He's got that right. Okay, so here's what I hate about unsanctioned matches. They're unsanctioned. Why the hell do you need a ref?
Here's what I hated about this match. At times, the cameraman was zooming too close that you couldn't see what the wrestlers were doing.
Bad production.
Yes. And there was a point where Magnus and Bram
And Storm, not Bram. Bram was earlier.
I mean, Magnus and Storm wrestled each other into the catering table, ruining some good food. And James Storm spits on Josh, and Josh is insulted by this. And I am like, considering the past abuse you have received at your job, getting spit on should not be that bad.
Yep.
You've been beaten up by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Kane, everyone's beating the shit out of you. So,
and then the finish is terrible.
They wrestled backstage to a high voltage situation.
Oh, Kenny Chaos is there?
No.
Oh, wait, not that high voltage.
Was like, guys, this is high voltage. This is high voltage. High voltage. High voltage.
Good, let's ram each other into it. Hope nothing happens.
Yeah, but so they kick a box. And that's supposed to screw up things. A single box. A small, tiny box.
Well, I'm glad I didn't actually watch this on pay-per-view. But anyway.
Magnus and James Storm are killing each other, doing spots that are dangerous. For a company they do not work for after tonight, Austin Aries is laughing.
You guys are killing each other. I just
half-assed it. Dude, I just half-assed it. There was James Storm got powder in his hands.
Mr. Fuji!
Magnus reversed this, Mr. Fuji. It kind of hit the ref, too. Which,
again, I hate the fact that you need a ref in a non-sanctioned match. Just the only thing the ref should be there to do is, once the person gets beat down bad enough, to call the match. You don't need to pin. You don't need to make the guy submit.
Yep. So
when
James
you beat the person to a point where they can't continue, call the match.
Yeah. Later, James Storm had a fever, and the only prescription was more cowbell. He had to hit him with the cowbell.
Uh-huh.
And then they bent a gate that was under the ring. And it reminded me of the time I bent a gate by running into it with a golf cart.
I think they said it was a guardrail.
Yeah, well, it was a guardrail. It was guardrail gate.
And there's a superplex spot on the guardrail.
Yeah. So Storm beats Magnus because both men hit each other with beer bottles.
And Storm just happens to land on top.
Storm hugs Magnus, and he falls on top of him.
I love you. Goodbye.
So both men are saying their goodbyes to TNA.
Josh Matthews said the wrong guy won. I'm like, they're both leaving, right?
And
doesn't
this
matter.
caused Brian Alvarez to be pissed off because the man who had beaten up Mickie James is leaving with a victory. And I'm like, they take stuff where they get their win back. Seriously. This is why sometimes spoilers are a good thing. They taped stuff. This is not going to be the end of it.
And now we're getting to the two matches that I didn't see.
First of all, we saw Drew Galloway backstage.
Drew Galloway.
In an interview where he's talking about, this is the biggest, I'm in a pay-per-view main event, this is the biggest night of my career, and he's like, you won the Evolve Dragon Gate title as well as the Intercontinental title. This is not the biggest night.
Again, the Intercontinental title. Really?
And then we had 5 minutes of Production Workers' Revenge.
Excuse me.
Which basically had the commentators being silenced. What?
I said, no, I was mocking the commentators. Sorry.
Yeah, they were like, you on? Working? What? So
Herman Silfies would have figured this out.
The best part was the only camera they had was to go to the ring while they were sweeping up. And you had 5 minutes of this.
Bad production.
Everyone was like, this is because of James Storm and Magnus. And I'm like, no, Dixie Carter forgot to pay the production workers late.
So Aries is the only one who's half-assing this job.
So they paid them late. They waited for the first real live event so they could fuck them.
Good God. Awful. Anyway, we have a tag match.
EC3 comes out with his awesome theme music, Trouble, Trouble, Trouble. Mr. Anderson.
Along with his not-awesome bodyguard.
Mr. Anderson sees the technical issues that have been going on, looks at his mic, is about to talk on it, but says, screw it. Nope. Not doing it. Not
Dean
doing
Ambrose.
it.
Nope.
So, he comes back on and calls...
Or Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep. So, Pope comes back on and calls Mr. Anderson Mr. Kennedy. By the way, I got to mention earlier that during the X Division title match, when they did the Tower of Doom spot, Shades of Elijah Burke.
When did Pope ever do that?
What?
Said, when did Pope ever do that?
I don't know, but he said Shades of Elijah Burke, and I'm like, you do? And I'm sure Josh wanted to say, that's you, buddy. Why the hell are you saying Shades of yourself? I was there for Elijah Burke.
Oh, Pope.
Yeah.
This is a nothing match, really.
It's EC3
EC3 on the show.
Versus Mr. Anderson and Franklin Lashley.
You mean Ken Lashley? That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
I'm still calling him Franklin.
Bobby Anderson and Ken Lashley.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tyrus, for that.
You've given us something new. You've given us a new bit. Thank you, Tyrus.
By the way, Anderson and Lashley tried to pick up Tyrus and couldn't do it for a double suplex. And by the way, I was like, John Cena is laughing at you. He could do this.
Along with everybody else.
Yes, he's picked up Big Show and Edge at the same time. So EC3 and Tyrus win after EC3 pins Lashley with the 1%er.
What a jobber Lashley is. And ain't I right? That's the second time in like a month that he's lost to EC3.
Well, yeah, and then we have the Jarretts coming out. Karen's in a sexy attire. Just as long as she doesn't speak, it's fine with me. Because she sounds like a raptor when she speaks.
And she'll chase you through Jurassic Park.
Or Jurassic World at this point.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good movie, by the way, that people should see. But anyway.
So Double J just said that he is taking the belt with him to GFW, and he gets the loudest pop of the night. He's an invader. He's going to screw the company that you're all watching. You're okay with that.
Nobody cares about TNA anymore. Not even the people in the Impact Zone.
So they had to explain the rules of the match, and it took 2 minutes. And I'm like, when your match takes more than 2 minutes...
It doesn't take that long to explain the rules of the Royal Frickin' Rumble.
I know. When you have to explain the rules and it takes 2 minutes, you're doing it wrong. So I can easily explain the rules in less than 2 minutes. Here we go.
5-man fight, you had to climb the ladder and put the belt up instead of take it down.
By the way, you have to be... No, here's you go. You have 5 men go up the ladder to put the belt back. You can only be eligible after you pin the guy, and if you're pinned, you spend 2 minutes in a penalty box. That's less than 2 minutes.
There you go.
There you go. That's it.
Jeremy Borash, thank you for making rules more convoluted than they are.
Yes. So, immediately, Rude becomes eligible. Jarrett has to go to the penalty box. Then Jarrett gets out of the penalty box and has to immediately go back in because EY pins him. Then after Jarrett gets out, Matt Hardy and Drew Galloway pin EY and Rude. So they're in the box. And while in the box... while in the box, the Canadians are forming an alliance.
Team Canada!
Yes!
All we need is Scott D'Amore and A1. And maybe Tyson Dukes.
Jarrett does a Tower of Doom spot with Drew Galloway and Matt Hardy, and both Rude and EY steal his pins.
Okay.
So they're both, they both take the pin for themselves. So he can't be eligible still. And then he finally gets eligible because he hits Rude with a guitar.
El Kabong!
Jarrett is in pile driven onto a ladder by EY.
And somewhere Coco Beware is singing a song from that Pile Driver album.
And the funny thing is, Jarrett comes back. This should be it for him.
Nope.
He should be dead. Just saying. So Drew is sent off with a senton off the cage onto Rude, EY, and Hardy. So then Jeff Hardy hits a twist of fate onto Drew Galloway. Matt Hardy. By the way, yeah, Matt Hardy. Jeff Hardy.
Hurt.
Yeah. So Jeff Jarrett hits EY with an elevated stroke that looks terrible, and Jeff Jarrett wins.
Yay! How predictable.
And commentators don't know what this means, but the crowd is okay with it.
It means that this belt is Jarrett's.
I know. But what does this mean for TNA? And I'm like, apparently, if this is TNA's last pay-per-view, and by all indications it may be, they're booking it as. They have the induction on an Impact, the Hall of Fame induction, so they're booking this like there's not going to be a Bound for Glory this year. So if this is their last pay-per-view, I cannot see a more fitting way for the show to go.
And Jeff Jarrett winning the main event.
Yep, a guy who's not there winning the main event. And
sounds
getting
like Russo logic to me.
And production issues aplenty.
The show is a mess. Get the C-.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a mess.
In another news, we have Impact.
Yep. We have Impact, which did not do well in the ratings, apparently. We start
When
off
does Impact
with,
ever do well in the ratings?
I don't know, but...
And Raw didn't do very well either this week, so, you know.
No, nothing did well this week. So, we start off with something that was set up online that makes me question the Rising's intelligence. A 3-on-4 handicap match where the losing stable must disband.
I wonder who's going to lose.
So, and everyone's like, man, Mika could defeat all 4 guys. He's the son of Ming. And I'm like, he lost. He got eliminated first.
Who's that?
Mika. Who's,
Camacho.
Haku's son, yeah. So he got eliminated, which proves he is not his dad. And
Nope.
Pope is like, why would the Rising agree to this idea? I'm like, they didn't agree to it. They came up with it.
Why would they suggest it?
They were the ones who came up with it, who challenged the BDC. And even then, they couldn't even find a 4th member.
Whoops.
So afterwards, Eli Drake hurt his knee and he was eliminated as well. After he did some impressive stuff, but he hurt his knee. He's out. So it's 4-on-1. Drew has made a terrible mistake.
He did get a couple of eliminations in there.
Yes. Low-key missed with the Insaguri kick. Hit Kenny King instead. Low-key gets rolled up. The dreaded schoolboy. It's now 3-on-1. Kenny King is still out, so Drew pinned him. It's now 2-on-1.
And also, they write off Loki when Galloway gives him the shoulder breaker on the steps.
Oh, yeah. So, MVP with the drive-by.
The horrible Shining Wizard.
Yep, and this match is over.
And then we have a backstage promo with them.
We with them celebrating, and Loki has headed to the hospital with homicide. Then we have Magnus coming out, not selling that he lost at Slammiversary. Of course, this was taped
beforehand. That's why he's not showing it.
Yeah, and he introduces Mickie James, who has recovered greatly from being pushed by James Storm on the train tracks. Thank God.
Showing no signs of mental wear and tear.
So Mickie is about to talk. James Storm music interrupts, and she says, "Yeah, you bring your coward ass out here."
I didn't want you in my revolution. I just wanted to prove that I can manipulate you.
I did love this. I do love this. Basically, what Storm was you didn't want to be in my revolution? Well, I didn't want you in my revolution. So there.
I didn't want the little kid that doesn't get what he wants. I didn't want you on my team. I can have any woman I want.
And she's like, you know what? Next week, me and Magnus versus James Storm, and if you can find a woman, that'll be your partner.
And Mickie just tears into him for like a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah, she does. So James Storm's basic exclamation, he did it just to be a dick.
Here's the problem. I have, is that Storm said, when Storm said, you know, in the Revolution there's always room for one more, and they're teasing a woman, I expected who the woman's going to turn out to be to just come out and attack Mickie.
Yeah, it didn't happen. So, it's time for the best match of the show.
30-minute Iron Man match.
Yes. That will decide who comes away with the tag titles. And Josh is like, Full Metal Mayhem was trending everywhere. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
You're lying.
And when the match begins, there is no graphics of a clock and scoreboard.
No, it's on the Tron.
Yes, they are too cheap to make a graphic.
Damn you, TNA.
For a whole time, and there is a clock, but it's on the Tron. So I'm like, TNA too cheap even to do the simple things. So 10 minutes in, it is 0-0.
15 minutes in, it's 0-0.
You mean 20 minutes in, not 60.
20 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah, there was a double Hurricanrana spot by Eddie Edwards on both members of the Dirty Heels. And so there was a Rent-A-Center commercial during the commercial break that said, I'll pay a little here. I don't have to pay.
Rent-A-Center commercial during the commercial break. When else would they do it?
What?
You said there was a Rent-A-Center commercial during the commercial break.
What? Sorry?
You said there was a Rent-A-Center commercial during the commercial break. When else would they going to do it?
I know. I'm
talking about an insert promo during the match?
I'm talking about a specific commercial.
Or the feature Hulk Hogan?
Of Rent-A-Center. A specific commercial for Rent-A-Center. I'm getting somewhere here where it says that, I don't want to pay for this TV now. I want to get it and pay little by little by little. And he said, We can't do that. And he's like, we can at Rent-A-Center. I'm like, man, TNA wishes they could pay people like customers pay for their TVs at Rent-A-Center.
Yes, they would.
I know. TNA wishes that.
Mm-hmm.
So, 20 minutes later, 0-0. 25 minutes later, 0-0.
And, of course, as in any Iron Man match, the last 5 minutes, when they start scoring falls.
Yes. After less than 4 minutes left, Aries hits a 450 splash for the first fall. The heels lead 1-0. 2 minutes left. 1-0 still. So there was a powerbomb backbreaker combo, gets the Wolves the pin, tied 1-1 with 60 seconds left. 30 seconds left. And with 10 seconds left, a dreaded roll-up gets the win for the Wolves.
And they're the champions. Next.
People were like, I don't like matches that take this long.
That,
without pinfall. That don't have multiple pinfalls, like all through the match that have to take time before you get a first pinfall. I'm like, it's basically most of it's just them wrestling, and then you go for the Iron Man, which is fine because they can do it. They can go 30 minutes for one match.
Correct.
So then I thought this was better than Full Metal Mayhem.
Yep.
And next one night only pay-per-view, which they are not taping any more of, is Knockouts Knockdown 2015.
Which will air probably next week sometime.
Yep. Then we have the Triple Threat
So
Knockouts.
one of us could see that.
I don't know. So
anyway.
Then we had the Knockouts Triple Threat Tag Match.
Triple Threat Tag Match?
Triple Threat Knockouts Title Match.
Yes.
My bad. Not a tag match, but a...
I was like, who would be the third tag team?
I don't know, but anyway. Awesome Kong, Brooke, and Taryn Terrell. And the Dollhouse now have an actual dollhouse on the stage during their entrance.
Is it like when Gangrel and the Brood just to come up to the stage?
So, Pope isn't a Courtney... So Pope's like, quiet, let me watch this. And Joss is like, Pope is a Courtney Love fan. I'm like, no, he's not. He likes looking at pretty women. Did you not get that?
Nobody's a Courtney Love fan in 2015, Josh Matthews.
I know. Pope, look at Pope. He's not a Courtney Love fan. And Brooke is in her rainbow wrestling gear again.
Oh, God.
I hate that gear so badly. So, blatant dollhouse interference, Earl Hebner being terrible as a ref, means Taryn gets the win after her finisher.
On Brooke. And they're going to be facing again at some point.
No, she pinned Awesome Kong.
Oh, she pinned Kong. So, yeah, her and Brooke are going to be facing in a singles match for their Knockouts title at some point in the next several weeks.
And then they find out that Gail Kim is the mysterious knockout in these videos. Boo!
Yeah, Gail Kim return.
Really? You couldn't have set up another knockout with those promo packages?
Can they afford another knockout?
I guess not, but Tenay is going to interview the Jarretts, and this really was not an interview. He asks one question, interview over.
That's like, pretty much what interviews are nowadays.
Stay with us for part 2 of our interview, and I'm like, that wasn't even a part 1.
One question. Part 2 will be the next question.
So, main event time, EC3 takes on Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And during this, I really have never seen this in HD, but can anyone explain to me EC3's scar on his stomach?
I don't look at EC3's stomach very much. I don't know.
I don't either, but there's this...
Did he have appendicitis at one point?
I don't know. They were announcing him, and in HD you could see this. It's not something you want to look at, but you notice it. You're like, there's this scar on him.
From a bodyguard stab him?
I know, there is this scar near his navel.
Anyway, out of the match.
Yes. So, Tyrus has been thrown out of the match.
Because he tries to interfere and give EC3 a chair.
Yeah. EC3 wins with a roll-up. What?
That's EC3's big title win.
A roll-up.
You can't give him the win clean, and you can't even let him use his finisher. It's got to be a fluke.
Well, at least he didn't need Tyrus's help to win.
Right.
At least he is world champion, but I disagree with that finish.
And the show is C.
Yeah, it's a C show, although the ratings say it was a bad show. I don't get really attached to the ratings on that one because I still blame that on Kurt Angle.
Right.
He's still champion until the end of the show. If you want an indication of EC3's title reign, wait till next week because that's
when he faces Shark Boy and Dewey Barnes.
Yep. Mm. Just wait until then, where it's his first week, because you got to remember, RVD, when he won the title, that rating was good. The week afterwards was one of the worst ratings ever for TNA,
right,
and killed any chance of TNA in the Monday Night Wars.
Correct.
So that's basically it. Do you have anything to sell?
Yes, July 10th, IWE returns to Fairfield with a tribute to my friend Mark Mahoney, who was injured in a motorcycle accident a couple months ago, as well as the 6th annual Al Biondi Memorial Tournament. I will be ring announcing at this show, as the normal guy is out. But anyway, it should be a good show. Also signed for that show is a 4-way match for the IWE title with champion Ace Romero, the guy who's currently the number 1 contender, Shane Marvel, Frankie Flash, and Eric Johnson. On July 11th, IWE returns to Brewer, featuring a last man standing match between Ace Romero and Shane Marvel, as well as, what else is there? Adam Licker against J-Rock Primer, and much more. On July 18th, Northeast Wrestling presents Wrestling Under the Stars tour from Niles, Ohio. As I alluded to before, Magnus is on the show against Donovan Dijak. Also, in the main event, it will be Matt Hardy against Warbeard Hansen, as well as Jerry the King Lawler, and Mickie James will take on Tessa Blanchard. On August 1st, NEW has Wrestling Under the Stars 4, and will feature the main event of Alberto El Patron and Rey Mysterio against the Young Bucks, as well as Samoa Joe against Dijak, and Matt Taven against Hansen, Bandito Jr. against Mikey Webb, and much more. And then the Wrestling Under the Stars tour continues on August 2nd as the Young Bucks Out of the Kingdom in Lowell, Massachusetts. And then on August 8th, it'll be NEW in Bethany, Connecticut, as it will be Matt Taven taking on Dijak in a Texas Death Match. And it'll be Bandito Jr. taking on Mikey Webb, where the loser will have to leave NEW for 1 year. And that's what I've got to sell.
And that's all. I don't have anything to sell, so with that said, that is all, and I took Miley out before we went to show, so later on she's going to have to go for another walk, so good night for TNA.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Yep.